What's going on, guys? Jeremy here. Welcome to the video. First off, before anything else, make sure you hit that subscribe button, click that notification bell, make sure you're able to get notified for future videos, etc. So today, I'm going to talk about my recent decision to hopefully attempt in the future the highest point in South America, Aconcagua, one of the 7 summits. So I recently tackled Kilimanjaro earlier this year, late January, early February. A lot of fun, but recently, actually, since that trip, I've realized this is more of a just like a personal kind of epiphany, if you will. I just realized that I like testing myself to see what my limits are, whether the limits as far as like physically, emotionally, everything, mentally, how strong I can be, whether those limits are perceived or actual. I just like exploring those areas. So that's the rationale largely behind my decision to do these types of things, like summiting these high mountain peaks. So Kilimanjaro was a lot of fun. Definitely pretty hard to think that you've done something like that, been that far afield from the United States. But now I'm pretty dead set on tackling Aconcagua. So for those who don't know, it's the highest point in South America, also one of the 7 summits, which is the highest point on every continent. This one is quite a bit higher than Kilimanjaro, actually significantly so. Kilimanjaro sits at an elevation of 19,341 feet, or 5,895 meters. Aconcagua is quite a bit higher, just under 23K feet in elevation. 22,800, I believe, is the roundabout number there. 22,800 and change. So quite a bit harder than Kilimanjaro. And so I guess the biggest thing there, the X factor in terms of summiting, whether you summit or not, is the weather. That is the X factor or wild card there. So we'll see how that goes. I'm hoping to do that trip probably in February 2026 of next year. That's my time frame for doing that trip. So hopefully things line up and it goes well. So as far as the trip itself, Aconcagua, called the Roof of America, I guess, or the Americas, not just South America, South and North America, definitely higher than Denali. So I guess it's more apt to call the Roof of the Americas. Feel free to leave a note in the comments if you disagree. I don't know. But yeah, I guess it's called the Roof of the Americas. Go with that. It is also the highest mountain outside Asia, another one of its claims to fame, and it is the highest mountain in the Western and Southern hemispheres, both of those. So again, going back to this interest in summiting high mountain peaks, specifically like ascending to ever higher elevations, this is just something I realized about myself. I just like testing myself in that regard, seeing what I'm truly capable of. And this is also part of that is just at one point I'd like to see, in terms of fitness as well, like what's the most in shape I could possibly get if I went all out and left no stone unturned. How good of shape could I physically get in? I've never explored that. I'd like to see if I just, again, left no stone unturned, what's the best shape I could be, and I'm kind of curious to see what that would be. And training for Aconcagua would definitely do that. So again, that's for a future video. As far as this process goes along, in terms of prep for Aconcagua, I'll try to include some videos of training as well. Probably as I'm doing like a vlog as I'm out doing a conditioning hike. Probably not in the gym. I know it's kind of frowned upon to film in gyms these days. People walk in front of you, not good. They discourage filming in gyms for obvious reasons. So yeah, but I could definitely video myself doing like conditioning hikes. That would totally be fine. No issue with that. Just at various points, just letting guys know the progress in terms of prep, whether it's from like in terms of acquiring gear, physical fitness training, all that kind of stuff. So where my head is at certain points. This is going to be honestly, I'm a little concerned about this one in terms of outdoor adventures. I've never attempted something this ambitious, not even remotely. Just reading various facts about the mountain. I did read, there's a company called Earth's Edge. I just came across, they do treks to up Aconcagua. I saw mention this little fact kind of scared me. If it's a fact, I saw there was at least one day where you could ascend a vertical height greater than 1,200 meters, which is in layman's terms, in terms of the customary system, is knocking on 4,000 feet. So that's pretty substantial. That could happen 2 days in a row. With carrying a 20 kilogram pack, or for us in the U.S., basically carrying a 45 pound plate on your back for 7 to 8 hours a day for 2 days in a row, just to give you an idea of what that would be like from the physical side of things. So I've never done something or even considered doing something that ambitious when it comes to outdoor adventures. So that will definitely be interesting. And not only that, but there's the extreme cold. Reading again on the website for Earth's Edge about the trek, talking temps of possibly as low as -30 Fahrenheit. You know, Kilimanjaro was pretty cold. The top of the mountain is somewhat ominously called the Arctic zone. But no, the coldest it could have gotten there was probably -10, maybe -20. -30 is a whole other ballgame. So that should be interesting. The cold has always been my nemesis, but that will definitely be a factor. And that cold goes into the weather side of things. That's why, you know, summiting. I did read as well a pretty disconcerting fact. The summit rate for Aconcagua is notoriously low as 30. I think it averages around 30%. So I guess, again, only out of three climbers, only one will make it to the top on average. That percentage can go down to as little as 11%, or in some cases too. So largely due to the weather. There's just no guarantee, but the weather does seem like the X factor in terms of summiting Aconcagua successfully. So, and last but not least for this video, this introductory video, the biggest thing in my experience for preparing for treks like these, specifically high altitude mountaineering, you got to have a good cardio base. But you got to have a good fitness base, but specifically a good cardio base, because your cardiovascular system will be pushed or taxed to the absolute max every single day, probably multiple times per day. So it's definitely important. If someone asks me what's the one thing to do to prepare physically for high mountain trekking or high altitude, those who have an interest in high altitude mountains, is to have a good cardio base. If they did nothing else, you've got to have that. Of course, there's other things you want to do as well, but you have to have that to give yourself the best chance of making the summit. So in their website, or the site, they list cardio sessions. They list an ideal time frame for a cardio session to be approaching 1 hour. I think I read anywhere from 45 minutes to 1 hour. So that definitely far exceeds any cardio session I've done in the past, as far as like the average length of a session, which for me is normally 30 minutes. So doing an hour, that will test you as well. So hopefully during a session like that, it would put you in the mindset, or it should have what it would be like to a typical day on Aconcagua, especially summit day. So an hour of, not crazy effort, but it could be crazy effort. It could be high, HIIT classes, high intensity interval training, or it could be just a long, slow, steady pace. But approaching 1 hour, that would of course put you in the mindset of, this is going to be a slog. Yeah, so those are my bullet points for my upcoming plans at Aconcagua. I'm also planning on doing the Camino de Santiago trail later this year in November, doing a trek there, just trekking from city to city. So pretty physically ambitious as well, but just lots of trekking through towns and countryside. That should be pretty fun as well. So yeah, I got a couple trips coming up this year, late this year and early next year. Camino de Santiago trail in Spain first, and then Aconcagua hopefully in February of next year. But yeah, again, stay tuned for future videos, not just Aconcagua, but the more I get into this channel, the more I do. We'll see. It's how I've often wondered, I have been asked if I would attempt Everest one day. My answer is always no, but of course, never say never, but again, highly unlikely, but we'll see. But again, there's an interest in ascending to higher and higher elevations, and that is the highest one you can go to. Some might argue that Chimborazo in Ecuador is a higher peak because what's called equatorial bulge. It means that the summit of Chimborazo is the highest point from Earth's center. That's what that means, the equatorial bulge. Or even Mauna Loa or Mauna Kea in Hawaii, one of the two, where the base of the mountain connects to the seafloor. That's why it's 35,000 feet of elevation technically. So one could argue that either of those two are the highest peak in the world. But I, probably like most people, go from just sea level. I'm starting from there and how high, and just going from there. So Everest, of course, is the pinnacle. Will I ever see myself there? I don't know. Probably not. But base camp would definitely be on the list, and definitely is on the list, I think, too. So yeah. So stay tuned for future videos. Not just Aconcagua. It could be, even mountains out higher than that, wherever they're at if they're in the Andes again, or the Himalayas, and maybe one day Everest. You never know. But again, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment, ring that notification bell, and I'll catch you in the next video.